What's the coldest bet you've accepted? My friend Matthew looked me straight in the eyes with a smirk and said, I bet you wouldn't last a month dating her. I shook his hand. I'm in. One of the baristas, Kat, came over to take our order, already blushing before she reached our table. What can I get you? She asked, looking only at me, her hand shaking as she wrote my name on the cup with a little heart next to it. Dude, she's got it so bad for you. Remind us again how many times she's asked you out now? My other friend Jeremy asked. 47, I said with a sigh. Matthew and Jeremy looked at each other with matching grins that only spelled one thing, trouble. I'll make you a deal. Date her for 1 month and we'll cover your Hamptons share. My eyes went wide. $3,000? She walked back over, taking this deep breath like she was preparing for battle. Hey, so I was thinking there's this new place downtown and if you're free. Yes, I said. Kat dropped another tray. Wait, really? Really? Tonight. 7, I said flatly. She ran to the back room and screamed, probably thinking the room was soundproofed. It wasn't. Holy, I have date. I expected the date to be awkward. I figured she'd be clingy and desperate and I'd have to pretend to be interested for a whole month. Instead, I was blown away. She took me to an underground comedy show where she was performing, and holy crap, she was actually funny. Like genuinely making you forget to breathe funny. My phone kept buzzing with texts from my friends wanting updates, but I was too busy watching her own that stage. Week after week, she took me to new places I always thought were just full of weirdos. We went to midnight vintage markets where every vendor knew her by name. We went urban exploring in abandoned buildings for her personal photography project, showing me how different angles and lighting made something broken look beautiful. After each date, my friends kept asking for horrible date stories, and I kept making up lies because the truth was, there wasn't a date with her I didn't like. I had fun and started constantly looking for her in everything, or maybe I was losing my mind. Then, one Saturday, things took a turn for me. She led me to a public library towards the children's section in the back. 15 kids screamed, Miss Kat is here. They tackled her with hugs. Oh, is this your boyfriend? Kat's face turned red. I smiled. I am. She looked at me shocked, and I winked back, whispering, well, we have been going on dates. Also, I don't want to disappoint them. She mouthed thank you, and led them back to the reading carpet. I watched her read them stories, enthusiastically. You're different here, I told her after. Here I'm not nervous, she said. Kids judge you for your honesty and efforts, nothing else. I think you're amazing, I said, putting my hand up to her cheek. I meant it. I started making up excuses and canceling plans with friends just to be with her. You're really selling this bet, they'd say. But I wasn't selling anything anymore. I wasn't planning on letting this bet end, ever. But I also knew I'd have to tell her the truth, the stupid truth. And for once in my life, I was scared. On the last night of our 1-month dare, Kat asked me to meet her 15 minutes before midnight exactly, saying it was important. She stood by the water in the same sundress from our first date, setting an alarm on her watch. God, she was beautiful. I need to. There's something. I laughed at how clumsy I sounded. She giggled too. You're sounding like me now, she teased. I cleared my throat. I'm going to sound like a jerk, but I need to tell you the truth about something. The bet, she said. I know. My heart almost stopped. I'm not deaf, you know. Just in love with you, she said, almost too casually. I just wanted 1 month. Just 1 month to pretend you chose me. It was 11:55. She kept checking her watch. 5 minutes left. Left of what? Of our month. When this alarm goes off, you win. Your friends win. You go to the Hamptons. You win, she said, her voice breaking. She wiped away tears, apologizing. I pulled her to me. Then come with me, I said. Come to the Hamptons. She laughed bitterly. Sorry, that's not how this story ends. Why not? My friends will deal with it. Stop, please. Why? I begged. Because I'm dying. In 2 weeks, I start treatment for lymphoma. I felt the air leave my chest. This entire month felt like a dream, she said. Even if it was fake. The alarm went off at midnight. She quickly stood on her toes and kissed me hard and desperate, then pulled back with tears streaming down her face. Thank you for my month. She ran before I could say anything. I stood there with her lipstick on my mouth and that alarm echoing across the lake. The next morning, I visited the hospital instead of going on the Hamptons trip. No, I said immediately when she saw me. No to what? She asked, confused. I'm saying no to this ending, and I'm asking you out. She shook her head and turned away. The answer is no. Leave. But I wasn't going to give up. She'd asked me out 47 times before I said yes. I could do the same, and I did. 46 days of cold, hard rejections. But on day 47, I stood my ground. Will you go out with me? Is this the last time you're asking? Number. This is the first time you're saying yes, I stated like a fact. She shook her head and smiled, and finally said yes.